In this case, Gettysburg happened because Lee wanted that climactic battle of annihilation, and Meade certainly needed to prevent it and needed to be there in enough strength and resist the Confederate invasion. But in a larger sense, the war was gonna be over only when one side was thoroughly exhausted and absolutely defeated. I think Lee's perception of how to win the war and vision for victory developed over time during the war. He didn't come to command anything until June 1, 1862, when the war had been going on for over a year. Lee's frustration in that first year of the war, I think, convinced him that the Confederacy was a lot weaker than many people thought, and that Confederate resolve to maintain a separate identity was probably less than that Jefferson Davis perceived. And so Lee hatched his notion, which I think is quite natural and maybe even the most realistic, that the only way to win the war was to win it as soon as possible before Confederate armies get weaker and the Union armies get stronger, and to win it in one climactic battle of annihilation in which the Confederate Army destroys the enemy and thus compels the enemy to do whatever the Confederates want, which is essentially to be left alone, to be an independent nation. The Confederates cast themselves very much as the American revolutionaries had in 1776. They don't have to win the war, they have to keep from losing it. And the British, like the North, has the obligation to invade, to conquer. What Lee hopes to do is to do the same thing that George Washington had done at Yorktown, to defeat a major enemy army and thus compel the enemy to go away and leave them alone. Jefferson Davis, on the other hand, had come to his strategic vision, I think, over time in the way that Lee had, but certainly did not come to the same conclusions. Initially, Davis, responding to political pressure, wanted to defend every inch of Southern soil. And this, of course, fell into Union hands because the Confederacy did not have as many soldiers, nor as many resources, and couldn't defend every inch of Southern soil. Davis then came to a Napoleonic concept known as the offensive defense. That is, allow the enemy to penetrate, as the Confederates had been compelled to do so many times. But then, on ground of your choosing, at a time that pleases you, in circumstances that favor you, attack. Attack those people who have attacked you and attempt to destroy their army. Lee's emphasis was on the offense, on the attack, on the destruction of an enemy army. Davis's emphasis was on the defense. Don't risk. Just hang on. Keep existing. The Confederacy becomes stronger every day it exists because it becomes more and more an accomplished fact. The Confederacy can win by not losing, the same as the American colonials had done in 1776. And that war had taken a long, long, long time. The ground around Gettysburg is important. If you go there, you see a very gradual slope in the ground that forms Cemetery Ridge. And indeed, Cemetery Hill is not any kind of major promontory. It's a worn down, sort of rolling hill. And the same is true of Culp's Hill and the ridges that lead to Little Round Top and Big Round Top. The ground does change rather suddenly into Devil's Den, which is a mass of glacial tailings, the southernmost extremity of a major glacier that covered North America millions of years before. These rocks are huge boulders, and of course they provide a terrible place in which to fight, because you never know who's around the next rock, whether he be friend or foe.